Hey everybody, welcome to Southern Logic Media where I'm keeping you informed. Thank you so much for stopping by and spending just a few minutes of your time with me today. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Don't forget to like and subscribe, especially subscribe because, look guys, you got to get me above the single digits. Really. I, no, not really. I don't care. Look, guys, if I just got two people watching me, I'm good. But thank you anyway. I mean, your subscription would be deeply appreciated. I promise you. Wow, I have so much to go over with you guys today or tonight, and I hope that you all have had a good weekend so far. But I got so much to go over. It's unbelievable. Um, do you remember when Trump went out to them construction workers? Guys, he. Well, let's get to the judge first. The judge Merchant that's presiding over Trump's trial. He has tried to stop Trump in any way possible to from having any kind of leniency to help him out. The judge has tried every way possible to keep uh, President Trump from out of that courtroom, from campaigning, anything. He's keeping him hemmed up, and that was the whole plan. But he was keeping him from campaigning, from doing what Trump loves to do, and they know if they can keep him inside that courtroom for 4 or 5 days, even Saturdays, if they can keep him from campaigning, they may have a slimmer of a chance. It ain't gonna happen. Trump's a 4D chess player, and he's better than that. But yeah, they're keeping him hemmed up in the courtrooms, and it's a shame. You know that Judge Merchant would let Trump go um, to his son's graduation, and he also wouldn't let him go to take a day off just to be with Melania Trump on uh, her birthday. And remind you, this is just not a regular man. This is the former president of the United States, and that Judge Merchant. I guess that's right. Um, he thinks he's he's eating this up. He's loving it. He's loving it that he's got so-called power over Trump, over one of the presidents of the United States. But Trump is as you know, Trump is a 4D chess player. Even though they keep him hemmed up in the courtrooms and all these cases that they're throwing at him, that man still goes. He still goes out there and campaigns. Unbelievable. I don't think he ever sleeps. I don't see how he does it. The stress level. I mean, the stress level's got to be way way up. But he keeps going and keeps going. So they're going to keep him hemmed up in the courtrooms. He's going to find other avenues, other routes to campaign, to get out there where people can see him. So that one particular morning at 6 a.m., he went to a construction site in New York, and I think it was Manhattan, right near where he has to go to court in a couple of hours before um, before he gets out there, and he's out there with the people, with the construction workers at 6 a.m. There were thousands that came out there to see that. He was out there at 6 a.m., folks. Uh, it was crazy. They went absolutely crazy to see Trump come out there. and be a part of them. And he's a people's president. That's what he is. And he went out there and they remind you all that that New York City is a Democrat state, and usually the workers out there are in unions, and they have voted historically Democrat all the time. But Trump has really put New York City in play because the people see what's going on and how corrupt the Biden administration is and the DOJ. They see all this. But I got some news for you. I have proof that Biden is involved in all of this. He's involved with the Mar-a-Lago raid. He's involved in that, and I have proof. And I'm going to bring that to you all. The stuff that like I said, the liberal media doesn't talk about. They don't want you to hear that. But I'm going to bring that all to you probably in my next video. And you'll see what I'm talking about once you see it. Biden is wrapped up in all of this. And like I said, I have proof. But anyway, getting back to the him going out there with the construction workers. I mean, you can see the love. I mean, it's amazing. But we're gonna watch this video right quick, and I'll chime in from time to time and kind of narrate what's going on. And you guys are gonna like this because New York City will never be the same. As a matter of fact, let me tell you this while I'm thinking about it. Trump is getting ready to get a rally at Madison Square Garden. Can you believe that? It's going to happen. But anyway, let's get this video right quick, and you'll see what I'm talking
buildings
about.
With them. They're great people, great contractors, and great people. And I have a lot of support. I hear the Teamsters. I've done a lot of work with Teamsters. I built a lot of buildings with the Teamsters, and they like me a lot, Teamsters here. And it's an amazing show of affection, but we did a great job.
How important is the union vote? And you're here in New York City, you're talking with these members. Do you think you can maybe change some of their minds if they were lifelong Democrats to vote for you?
I think these maybe were Democrats, but for me, they're a Republican.
They're
There's not a Democrat in there. These are people. Look at that building. Look what we can do. We built a lot of great buildings in the city with these people. And
Hey guys, I remember when I was younger. That's been a long time ago. Unfortunately, that's been a long time ago. I remember the Democrat side of the equation were really good people. They were, God-loving, God-fearing, just like the Republicans are today. But the Democrat Party has gone so far left where everything's okay. Everything's okay. The deceitfulness and I once I grew a brain, I switched immediately. But the Democrat Party has gone too far, and you'll see it in these people right here, which probably 90% of them used to be Democrats, but you're gonna see them right here in this video where they're gonna switch parties. You'll see it. This is New York City, a blue state, and you can see them. You can see the change take effect. If you know what I'm saying, you can see the change take effect. But let's get back to the video and watch these people love this man because they know he's a everyday people like you and me president.
they've given me great support. They're really amazing. You know what? They're very, very talented people. They don't get the credit for it. Very few people can do what they do. We used to do 3 floors a week in concrete. And it was guys like this that did it, so it's very amazing.
Did you know about
No, he's been very nice. I mean, David's been very nice. He's a nice guy.
Did you know, Mr. President, did you know
What's that?
Are you confident that Justus?
Well, we have a big case today. This judge isn't allowing me to go. We have a big case today in the Supreme Court on presidential immunity. A president.
Hey, just remember, I got following these couple of videos. I got some words on the Supreme Court. What's going on with the Supreme Court? Just hanging there with me. Like I said, I'm gonna turn your guts in one photo. Then I'm gonna make you feel happy at the very end. So y'all hang in there with me till the end, okay? Yeah, you're gonna like it.
Has to have immunity. If you don't have immunity, you just have a ceremonial president. You won't
Ceremonial
Did you know about the
president.
payments?
So we have a big, we have a very big case going.
Did you know about the payment?
Listen to them, guys. Listen to them.
Say it, what?
USA.
They're very talented people. They're very smart. They know what to do. They're going to be very fair.
Did you know about the payment to Stormy Daniels?
So you guys heard that right there. I mean, he's pretty confident.
Trump is going to turn New York red, which is an unprecedented, unbelievable task to do. But you watch and see if he don't. I think it's going to happen.
Here and what's going on in New York City in terms of turning people, what he says on his team here, who might have been lifelong Democrats. So that's kind of what we're hearing right now, and he's going to continue, right, to walk around and talk.
I think that he's dealing with the Republican Party chair. I think he's still doing it. That's Ed Cox. He is the son-in-law of Richard Nixon. The president has a history with the Nixon. Nixon identified him early as a presidential candidate in the future. Ed Cox is probably one of the most powerful people in New York, and you wonder, guys, the president's within 10 points of Joe Biden in New York. Joe Biden's going to go up to Syracuse today for a cop's funeral where they're having trouble getting state troopers to work in security because no cops want to be protecting the president that presumably is so weak on crime.
Wow, did you just hear that? The state troopers don't even want to be a part of his Biden security because he's so weak on crime. Wow. If that's not a slam in the face of Biden, I don't know what you call it. I mean, really. Wow, it's unbelievable, y'all. It's really unbelievable. Let's keep going.
And punishment.
I like that he's doing this before court. It's like when he went up to Harlem and he went to the bodega and he had so much support from the crowd in Harlem. Now he's doing this. This is at Park Avenue and 48th, somewhere in that area. There's a big building that's been under construction for a long time, close to Trump Tower. And hopefully he'll do things like this more often, take advantage of being able to campaign in New York and in this area.
The Democrats are going to wind up regretting that they've sequestered him in New York because by the time this is all over with, he's going to put New York in play.
New York, they're already talking about an event in the Bronx and possibly at Madison Square Garden. If you're going to leave him here for 6 weeks, he showed up at the Bodegas Union on their invitation. This has been on the books, we understand, for a while. And this is something that it's unscripted, it is real, it's a slice of life. But in New York, we live in this unscripted slice of life.
And can you imagine Joe Biden stopping at an event like this?
No.
And having this sort of organic enthusiasm? It doesn't exist.
He would actually say, read everything
Pause.
that he had to. He would pause when he had
Stop.
to and would say it out loud.
He wouldn't even know where
I think we're
his call
safe to
was.
say that this
He'd be
is the
spinning around in
only
circles.
president or candidate we've ever had who knows how many floors in a week you can build with concrete using steel workers.
Because his thing was, I could pay for it, but they build it.
He knows how many floors you can build in a week with concrete. That's because he's been with the worker. He knows the process, and I've been in building just about all my life, and I know exactly what he's talking about. He knows exactly what he's talking about, and that's where President Trump and I connect a little bit because we both are builders, and It's really good to hear that.
And that's why he has so much respect.
Look at this. Look at in the background on the scaffolding. You have construction workers out there taking pictures. People, it looks like, over the cars.
And it might be in New York City, but whether he's going to a bodega or doing this, he's talking about things that people across the country will relate to.
Yeah.
And whether it's safety and crime or the economy.
Yeah, they are yelling.
Listen to this, guys.
Trump, Trump, Trump. They're yelling 4 more years and USA, USA.
Unreal.
Alexis, you are right there. Who else in the press
In
corps
New York
besides you
City.
thought if this was newsworthy enough to show up?
Wow.
Do we still have Alexis?
She probably doesn't hear
You're
it.
talking to me. There's a lot of people. No, I can hear you now. There's a lot of
too
people
loud.
here. I mean,
She
there's
can't
a
hear.
full amount of press right in front of us. And then there's also so many people that are kind of coming now that this has been announced that we're nearby, that are trying to come and catch a glimpse, but are kind of being closed out by security. But the former president has spent pretty much, he's spending a lot of time here talking to these people. We know that he's in possible striking distance, right, in New York City. Who would have ever thought that? So he wants to spend time with these people while he's here to try and gain their support. So when he comes back over here, if we get another chance, I'm going to ask him.
And guys, this is 6 o'clock in the morning. Look at all this. This is before he has to go in that corrupt judges or judge. I wouldn't call his courtroom. I call it the people's courtroom, but you know what I'm talking about. But this is a couple of hours before he had to go in, and he's out there he's campaigning when he can. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Brian, about that opportunity here in New York to try and beat Joe Biden, maybe flip some of these areas that are so dark blue, maybe a little bit red. I mean, we saw a lot of people out there too in Harlem. The guy was at a bodega, the former president of the United States. They had people out there wanting to talk to him there too, in that neighborhood.
Look, we're showing you an aerial shot.
Yeah.
You can see how deep the crowd is. People reaching for him. I hope he signs whatever it is that they're handing to him.
It reminds you of something prior to the Oscars. People show up, they just want a glimpse, they want to see. And it must be maddening for people.
Except there are no ball gowns. These are the union workers.
I'm thinking about those panels of 10 legal experts who say every day how bad a person Donald Trump is. Your message is not resonating. You can indict him as much as you want.
Yeah.
You can say whatever he wants. They are not listening. They're
Yeah.
making their own decisions, and they believe that former president was fighting for them and will again, no matter what you say and how outraged you may be from the Katie Courics in the world.
Well, we've seen all these unprecedented attacks on the president, former president, and the use of the courts to go after him. Well, this is what they're afraid of. This is why they despise him so much, and it's why even in the Republican Party there are people that don't like him because they're terrified of him because he can inspire this kind of.
They're terrified of it because they know what's coming. All these corrupt people in office now, they know that if he gets elected, they're going to jail. They're going to jail. Yeah, they're going to jail, and don't be surprised if you don't see a bunch of them go and take plane flights to these non-extradition countries. Yeah, that's going to happen. You watch. It might not be a lot, but I have no doubt that's going to happen once he gets elected. You'll see people scatter everywhere.
Enthusiasm from people by just showing up at a construction
A
site.
lot of people in that crowd, it's New York or Democrats, and many of them can relate to him and are saying that they're thinking about switching their vote, especially when it comes to either choosing between Biden or Trump. And in Pennsylvania, we did a Fox News survey, and among independents, he and Biden are neck and neck in the state of Pennsylvania. But it's interesting when you look at the independents in this survey. Trump had the advantage. He was ahead by 7 points among independents in March in that survey, and now he has an 8-point edge. So that could take him over the top.
Right. It's also noteworthy that this team runs like an efficient machine, and he knows exactly how long it's going to take to get downtown in order to get to court. And he's saying, why would I leave? Also, think about the president's mindset. It's pretty damaging to you emotionally. You got to sit there and hear these horrible things about you. You got to listen to a judge who tells you when to stand and when to sit and what to say. And this is an emotional lift for him. It's important for him to understand, no matter what's going on in that courtroom, there's something going on outside there that's a lot more positive.
Good point. Good point. This will carry him through.
And all along, I don't think that the court cases have anything to do, obviously they have nothing to do with justice. It's all about what you're talking about. It's all about trying to humiliate him, take him off the campaign trail, do whatever they can to get him off his game. And this is how he gets back on his game.
Why can't one of those people be in his jury pool?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, take your vest off. I have a job for you.
Trust me, the prosecutors did everything in their power to make sure that didn't happen, for sure.
Okay, guys, I got another video for you. This is Jonathan Turley. He's a constitutional lawyer. He's featured on Fox News a whole lot. He's been in front of Congress many times, but he's gonna talk about the cases. And let's listen to him a little bit. Then I got well, you'll see. But let's get on him. Let's get on him and listen to what he has to say.
I want to bring in Jonathan Turley. He's a constitutional law attorney. He's been watching all of this. So David Pecker's cross-examination continues today. From what you've been able to glean so far, what else should Trump's team do to try to explain to the jury that this was not illegal?
Well, they're doing a good job, largely allowing the case to collapse on its own weight. You know, this case thus far is about as good a model of prosecution as the Titanic is a good model for navigation. I mean, I don't understand why they would start with Pecker. In my view, he's disastrous. You know, first of all, I'm speaking as a criminal defense attorney. Most good prosecutors, if they know that the criminal defense attorney is going to bring up something damaging, will bring it up themselves. And the most damaging aspect of Pecker's testimony is that he did the same thing for a wide variety of celebrities. I mean, that is really quite damaging. And by not revealing that to the jury in your direct, there is a sense that there was a hiding of the ball here. You can lose credibility with the jury. I mean, because that's really quite remarkable. Pecker said that he was doing this for Trump decades before he ran for office. He said he did this for people like Schwarzenegger. Was he trying to get Schwarzenegger elected president? Because he can't be president. So at what point did the prosecutors think that this was going to come out, and why they didn't bring it out themselves? So today it'll be interesting. The key here for the defense is, don't rough this guy up. He's not been a bad witness. He's testifying with a gun to his head. He has an agreement with prosecutors, and he's actually given you some very good stuff. So I would be very careful not to start taking wild swings at this guy.
Jonathan, you and I have talked about the fact that we know of at least a couple of attorneys we think who are part of this jury pool and now officially on the jury. How much does that help potentially President Trump's team? There's been a lot made of that because while a lot of what's being presented may sound, dirty or unseemly to the average person out there, if it doesn't amount to a crime, and Alvin Bragg is doing something very unique in trying to get to that place, are having folks like professionals on the jury, is that going to help?
Shannon, I have always opposed attorneys being on a jury. As a criminal defense attorney, I never want them on a jury. The reason is not to have any disparaging remarks about these two attorneys. I have no reason to believe that they won't be unbiased. But they just simply have too much authority in that room. This case has no crime that is discernible. Many of us are still debating, second week into this case, what was the crime Trump was trying to conceal? If one of those attorneys states in that jury room that they think that is a perfectly valid indictment, it probably will carry some weight. The key is that it takes a lot for people to stand up, even in a jury room, and be that one or two person to say, I have doubts. Particularly in New York, when you have doubts of a conviction of Donald Trump. To have an attorney weigh in at that moment could silence those dissenting voices. That's why I think it's a bad idea, and I don't think it's a good thing to have two attorneys on this jury.
Okay, Jonathan, since now everyone's had a chance to have a sleep, I don't know if it was a good night's sleep. It was a sleep after the Supreme Court argument yesterday. And the Supreme Court justices heard their last case and possibly the most consequential case of all of these. And you have a op-ed in the New York Post. The headline is Oral Argument Suggests the Supreme Court About to Plunge into a Constitutional Abyss in the Trump Immunity Case. What do you mean by falling into the abyss?
Because this is a case where you often have a case where there's an argument that's sort of a cliff argument. You go over that cliff and you're not certain where you'll land. This case is different because there's cliffs on both sides. There's both parties are advancing fairly extreme arguments. You've got the special counsel saying a president has no immunity. And you just have, and you have the other side saying a president has complete immunity. And the justices, the three liberal justices clearly seem to be intending to support the special counsel. But the other justices wanted to find a third option. And they didn't buy the government saying, you have to trust us, we're the government. You know, you can almost see some of these justices looking north towards New York. Because the third lawyer in that room was Alvin Bragg. I mean, because everything they were discussing about political cases is unfolding at the same time in New York.
Shannon, do you have any last questions for Jonathan?
Well, I want to ask Jonathan the same question I keep getting asked after the arguments yesterday. Do we think this is an end of June argument, or because this case has been on a rocket docket sort of speed, do you think that they give it to us maybe in May?
Yeah, Shannon, as you know, they can get this out as soon as they want. If they're going to remand it to the trial court, which some of the justices seem to be thinking along those lines, at least 4 of them were discussing the record and why it doesn't answer some of these questions of that line between what's an official function, what's a non-official function. If they agree with that, they could send this back fairly soon. And even with that earlier result, I doubt that the district court could handle that question and still have a trial before the election. But obviously June is the end date that we'll have to be dealing with. What is also clear, though, is that the justices don't feel this sense of urgency of the special counsel. He said it's absolutely vital to prosecute and potentially convict this president before the election.
Yep.
It's just not clear why.
That's all they're going
because
for.
First of all, he could be president even if you convict him. But the special counsel sort of flipped the normal policy of the Department of Justice to avoid election periods for trials. He says that he may try this case all the way up to or even through the election.
All right, Jonathan Turley, Shannon Bream, great to have you kicking us off today. Shannon Bream is down there, right there, ready for all the action, and we appreciate you both. Thank you so much.
I'm Steve.
Okay. This is where I'm going to turn your stomach. This is where I'm going to make you want to pour Tabasco sauce in your eyeballs. This is a representative of the DOJ. This is a representative. Oh my God, y'all! This guy looks. If I don't know if you remember the movie Deliverance. He looks like with Burt Reynolds. He looks like one of the guys from Deliverance that put a suit on. And he's got this annoying, I mean, absolutely annoying voice. Oh my God. This is the face of the DOJ, y'all. It really is. But I'm getting ready to show them to you. All right, you ready? You ready? You ready? You wait, you see this. Here we go. No, yep. Here we go. Let me turn this off. Yeah, here we go. Good Lord. Oh God. This right here is the face of the Department of Justice arguing in front of Scotus, in front of the Supreme Court. And I'm getting ready to, y'all getting ready to hear his voice. Wait till you hear his voice. It'll make your stomach turn. But I promise you, I got something better. At the end of this video, it's going to be the end just pretty soon. But you got to listen to this. This is the open arguments, and I said it in my thumbnail, that the justices are leaning very much towards Trump. Because they can't, you can't indict Trump or put Trump on trial for documents if you are president because he deserves immunity. He's got to have immunity or he'd be pardoning himself every day. You got people like Biden. You remember the 13 soldiers that got killed in the hasty withdrawal of Afghanistan? Do you remember Obama? That will be stated in the video I'm getting ready to show you. I'm getting ready to show you, and it's talking about the drone strike that Obama carried out. He told the CIA, I guess, to do it, and they did it. They killed an American citizen over in Afghanistan. And even, I mean, it goes back even to Bush. Do you remember when Bush went into Iraq and looking for weapons of mass destruction, and a lot of people were killed? And nothing was done. Nothing was done to him. And this idiot lawyer for the DOJ is getting ready to try to defend all of them guys. And I want you to listen to him very carefully. And listen to the words that Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh is getting ready to ask him. Toward the end of this video, the Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh is going to ask him about the drone strike that Obama had carried out. And this idiot for a lawyer, standing up for the lawyer for the DOJ, he's going to make the excuse that it was okay for Obama to do that. It's okay for Obama to launch a drone strike and kill an American citizen over in Afghanistan, but it's not okay for Trump to have them documents at his Mar-a-Lago address. Wow. I think there's a huge difference there. But we're getting ready to see. Get ready to hear from his own words. So let's listen.
Justice Kavanaugh?
As you've indicated, this case has huge implications for the presidency, for the future of the presidency, for the future of the country, in my view. You've referred to the department a few times as having supported the position. Who in the department is it? The president, the attorney general?
It'll turn your stomach.
The Solicitor General of the United States. Part of the way in which the special counsel functions is as a component of the Department of Justice. The regulations envision that we reach out and consult, and on a question of this magnitude that involves equities that are far beyond this prosecution as the questions of the court.
So it's the Solicitor General?
Yes.
Okay. Second, like Justice Gorsuch, I'm not focused on the here and now of this case. I'm very concerned about the future. And I think one of the court's biggest mistakes was Morrison versus Olson. I think that was a terrible decision for the presidency and for the country, and not because there were bad people who were independent counsels, but President Reagan's administration, President Bush's administration, President Clinton's administration were really hampered,
Yes.
in their view, all three, by the independent counsel structure. And what I'm worried about here is that was kind of, let's relax Article 2 a bit for the needs of the moment. And I'm worried about the similar kind of situation applying here. That was a prosecutor investigating a president in each of those circumstances, and someone picked from the opposite party, the current president, usually was how it worked. And Justice Scalia wrote that the fairness of a process must be judged on the basis of what it permits to happen, not what it produced in a particular case. You've emphasized many times regularity, the Department of Justice. And he said, and I think this applied to the independent counsel system, and it could apply if presidents are routinely subject to investigation going forward. One thing is certain, however, it involves investigating and perhaps prosecuting a particular individual. Can one imagine a less equitable manner of fulfilling the executive responsibility to investigate and prosecute? What would the reaction be if, in an area not covered by the statute, the Justice Department posted a public notice inviting applicants to assist in an investigation and possible prosecution of a certain prominent person? Does this not invite what Justice Jackson described as picking the man and then searching the law books or putting investigators to work to pin some offense on him? To be sure, the investigation must relate to the area of criminal offense specified by the statute, but that has often been, and nothing prevents it from being very broad. I paraphrased at the end because it was referring to the judges.
Yes.
That's the concern going forward, is that the system will, when former presidents are subject to prosecution, and the history of Morrison versus Olson tells us it's not going to stop. It's going to cycle back and be used against the current president or the next president the next president and the next president after that. All that, I want you to try to allay that concern. Why is this not Morrison v. Olson redux if we agree with you?
Well, first of all, the independent counsel regime did have many structural
Are you about ready to throw up in your mouth now?
features that emphasized independence at the expense of accountability. We don't have that regime now, but even under that regime, Justice Kavanaugh, I think if you look at Lawrence Walsh's report on Iran-Contra, I think this goes to a very fundamental point for the court to consider. Judge Walsh said, I investigated these matters. The proof did not nearly come close to establishing criminal violations. So we've lived from Watergate through the present, through the independent counsel era with all of its flaws, without these prosecutions having gone off on a runaway train.
Well, I think President Reagan, President Bush, and President Clinton, whether rightly or wrongly, thought contrary to what you just.
I want you guys to listen very carefully of what this DOJ lawyer is talking about. Listen to his explanations. They don't make no sense. I mean, really? All these other Democrat presidents can get by what, even having people killed. They can get by with that. It's okay for them to do that. It's okay for Bush to do what he did. It's okay for Biden to do what he did. It's okay for Obama to do what he did. But Trump, he can't. Some documents. Give me a break. And remember, I have another video that's coming up about them documents. I'm going to post it. I don't know, next couple of days. But I got to do my homework and make sure I'm right before I do it. But it's going to blow your mind. But check it out when it comes out. But anyway, let's continue. But remember to watch it. We got just a few more minutes left, and just remember to watch it. Watch this video to the end. You're going to be happy of the picture that I show you. I promise you.
said.
I think nobody likes being investigated for a crime, but it didn't result in the kind of vindictive prosecutions that I think Your Honor is raising as a possibility.
Yeah.
We have a different system now. I think there was a consensus throughout Washington that there were flaws in the independent counsel system. It lapsed. We now are inside the Justice Department with full accountability resting with the Attorney General. So the special counsel regulations now don't operate the way that the independent counsel regulations do. And this court would have something to say about it, I think, if the independent counsel statute were revived. I'm not sure that anybody is in favor of that.
Right. Now, I was just saying this is kind of the mirror image of that is one way someone could perceive it. But I take your point about the different structural protections internally. And like Justice Scalia said, I do not mean to suggest anything of the sort in the present case. I'm not talking about the present case, so I'm talking about the future. Second, another point, you said, talked about the criminal statutes. It's very easy to characterize presidential actions as false or misleading under vague statutes. So President Lyndon Johnson, statements about the Vietnam War. Say something's false. Turns out to be false that he says about the Vietnam War. 371 prosecution?
So
after he leaves office?
I think not, but this is an area that I do think that merits some serious and nuanced consideration. Statements that are made by a president to the public are not really coming within the realm of criminal statutes. They've never been prosecuted. I realize that the court can say, well, what if they were? And then I think you get to what I would regard as a hard constitutional question that would probably guide the court away from trying to resolve today.
Hey guys, what kind of beer you think this guy drinks? Maybe Bud Light.
Although I do think it's very different from our case and distinguishable in important ways. But you're dealing here with two branches of government that have a paramount interest in the integrity and freedom of their interactions with each other. On the one hand, the president, of course, should be very free to send usually his cabinet officials and sub-cabinet officials to testify to Congress, to provide them with the information needed to enact legislation and to make national policy. And we're very concerned about anything that would trammel that. On the other side of the equation, Congress has a compelling interest in receiving accurate information, and at the very least, not information that is intentionally and knowingly false. That would pollute the legislative process.
How about, I think it came up before, President Ford's pardon. Very controversial in the moment.
Yes.
Hugely unpopular, probably why he lost in '76.
Yes.
Now looked upon as one of the better decisions in presidential history, I think, by most people. If he's thinking about, well, if I grant this pardon to Richard Nixon, could I be investigated myself for obstruction of...
Hey guys, look, you see in my thumbnail that the justices are leaning toward Trump. Trump's winning. You can hear the question from this Judge Kavanaugh. He's getting ready to ask him about the Obama drone strike, and you'll hear this thing of the DOJ lawyer Michael Dreeben. You hear him make an excuse saying it was okay for Obama to do that. It was okay for Obama to say, "Hey, CIA, go murder this guy in Afghanistan." It's okay for him, but it wasn't okay for Trump to have them documents at his place. But I'm getting ready to bring you guys some news on them documents. So stay tuned. Let's keep watching. Just got another minute left. And then I'm gonna bring something on here that you all going to be happy about.
Justice on the theory that I'm interfering with the investigation of Richard Nixon.
So this would fall into that small core area that I mentioned to Justice Kagan and Justice Gorsuch of presidential responsibilities that Congress cannot regulate.
about President Obama's drone strikes.
There you go.
So the Office of Legal Counsel looked at this very carefully and determined that, number one, the federal murder statute does apply to the executive branch. The president wasn't personally carrying out the strike, but the aiding and abetting laws are broad. And it determined that a public authority exception that's built into statutes and that applied particularly to the murder statute because it talks about unlawful killing did not apply to the drone strike. So this is actually the way that the system...
Y'all just hear that? It did not apply to the drone strike. President Obama could never be held responsible for that because he was, I would call him accessory. If this is the route they're going to go, I would call him accessory. But let's finish on up.
Should function. The Department of Justice takes criminal law very seriously. It runs it through the analysis very carefully with established principles. It documents them, it explains them, and then the president can go forward in accordance with it. And there is no risk of prosecution for that course of activity.
Okay, that's it. But I promised you guys that I was going to show you something that you're probably going to like. And I got it right here. Are you ready? You ready? This is going to be the end result of everything. You watch what I tell you. Stay tuned. What I'm getting ready to show you is going to be the end result of everything. Everything. Yeah, it is. Here we go. Here we go. I'm excited to show this to you guys. Yeah. I personally had this made. Here we go. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my God. Don't you feel sorry for them? Really? Don't it look pitiful? Oh, bless their hearts. But that's going to be, that's what's going to happen right there. Yeah, it's going to finally, everything's going to finally catch up to them. That's why Biden's involved with the document thing. That's why Obama he's the puppet master. And it's finally going to come around. It's going to boomerang back on them. But that's a beautiful sight right there. It is. Love it. Oh my God. Yeah. Anyway, I know it's been a long one. Y'all stay tuned for my next one. It's going to be on the documents, the living proof of the documents. I'm going to find that woman that's got everything that's going on with the document case and why they illegally raided, the reason behind the document they raided Mar-a-Lago is not just all the documents. It was one particular thing that they were looking for. And I'm going to reveal it for you. I'm going to let you know what it is. Because you know what? I ain't scared. but anyway, much love, guys. God bless you all. I really appreciate you spending this time with me. And let Southern Logic Media bring you and keep you updated on what's going on in the world. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I need some help, y'all. Help me out. Help a brother out. I really appreciate it. And like I say at the end of my videos, every one of them, because I'm a firm believer in the man upstairs, and I try to throw some positivity out there in the world to my viewers or whomever. I always say this at the end of the videos: you are valued way more than you know. I promise you that. And if you don't think nobody values you here on this planet, I know a God that does. He values every hair on your head. So until the next video, guys, much love. Bye bye. I'll see you soon.